on the other side of the field from Libromancer Mikanko is a Tearlaments deck. Who would have ever imagined?
Yeah, Jake McGee is piloting the most popular deck in the room, and also he managed to win the die roll at the beginning, so he's going to start the action here. And let's see. Oh, he's starting it off with one of the most powerful ones.
Wow. And he is already going to go for a discard Callback. Now the question is, in a game 1, blindly, do you activate the Callback? Yes, you do.
Honestly, I have a little bit of theory towards that, because you are sitting here in the featured match, and you are X2 in the tournament, as we can see on the screen. I would personally, if I would be sitting there, expect my opponent to not be on Tearlaments, because why would they ever try to feature that Tearlaments mirror match now at the end of the day? And therefore, it's probably rather a more creative deck, and he is indeed facing the Libromancer Mikanko deck. So I think Jake made a pretty clever decision there at the end of the day. And look, he's now reading up on the Mikanko cards, of course.
Yeah, and I think maybe a Libromancer card as well, so 2 archetypes that you have to read up on now.
Yeah.
Also, there is an Agido and a Tearlaments Kashtira as well, so 2 further effects that you can trigger. Please do not forget to resolve the Rhino Heart. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And if Agido is going to be activated, he has to read even more cards.
Indeed. And do you know what I find very interesting? There is a new Bestial being released in Photon Hypernova, and it is Bestial Baldrake. And if I recall correctly, that card, at least in our featured matches, has not, for a single time today, hit the board, which is super interesting, because everybody was anticipating this card so much, and Jake successfully managed to mill it here with the Callback, but not a single time have we seen this card on the field. And this card is actually quite good, because it does not only have the effect that all of the Bestials have, banishing a light or a dark, specialing itself, but also you can tribute another monster when your opponent is special summoning an extra deck monster to destroy another card in the field. And we keep on milling, of course.
Don't stop milling the cards. So we are going to see the resolve of Havnis, of course, happening. We are probably going to go into a neat little card called Tearlaments Kid Kalos.
Most likely we do. And looking at the list of Pierre Kazum, I gotta tell you, there's not a single thing he could do here on his opponent's turn, because he's not running any hand interactions. That's not his approach, but that does not mean that going second his deck is not prepared, because he's bringing cards such as Enemy Control in his main deck. He's main decking Lava Golem, so there are definitely tools for him. There are definitely cards that he could draw into here, and I'm excited to see which ones he's going to have here in his opening hand.
So now we are seeing Scream and Chiron, so I can just imagine that we have, chained or activated a Mudora. Okay, so you are sending the crime back to the deck so that you can search it off Scream immediately.
Interesting decision. I have to say, most of the Tearlaments players have lately not been playing Tearlaments Crime in the main deck anymore, and most of the players have decided that just having second Salik actually is a better card, because the mill effect of Salik is so much better, because searching out a monster is so amazing. And yeah, when you mill Crime, as we just saw, if your opponent didn't interrupt you with a Bestial, it just doesn't do anything in the graveyard. And it's interesting to see that Jake still decided on running the Crime. And yeah,
also Metanoise has gained a lot of popularity lately. We have already talked about the interaction between Metanoise and the Kashtira monsters.
Indeed.
So because they activate after an effect has resolved, you can Metanoise them first, flip them face down, so they don't even activate.
Yeah, true. He doesn't run Metanoise, he just goes with the good old Crime. And also he goes with the good old milling here, special summoning or summoning out the Merly, and now also hitting a Merly to trigger another fusion effect in the graveyard. And yeah, I love to see that Pierre actually is noting down. Yeah, there's Merly, there's Chiron, there's Hafnit, and I think we've seen every single fusion effect now this turn, so there's not going to be any more fusion summons. But there's of course still the possibility to go into Sprite Elf right there, reborning a level 2 monster from the graveyard, or even a Link 2, but at the moment there's only level 2s.
Exactly, you would need a monster on the opposing side of the field to reborn
But Jor, I think he drew into that Pearl Rhino there with the Garura draw.
That is actually really strong. I know that he has had a lot of engine this turn already, but you can always add a Harvest for the opposing turn, and having the Pearl Rhino is just an extra interaction.
Indeed, and also imagine that your opponent, like that Jake did not have a monster in his hand yet. Crime, to resolve, actually needs a monster in the hand, so if he didn't have a monster yet in his hand, that was a pretty decent draw there off of the Garura. And yeah, one thing is very interesting. There is already a Lava Golem being milled in the graveyard by Pierre. Therefore, Jake knows that there could be a Lava Golem, and he just goes for the Baguska here turn 1. Actually shutting down his own rule colors. That's pretty interesting. Also, a Merly that he could reborn here with the Sprite Elf wouldn't necessarily do too much. That's actually pretty interesting of a move, I gotta say.
Merly would still be a target for his own Salik.
Yes, that's true. And then you can still fusion summon at least. But like all the fusion monsters that you're going to summon out, what are they supposed to do, really?
I mean,
you can
enable your Pearl Rhino, but you also have the Mudora for that. But I mean, of course, it's better to have multiple options. You can summon monsters to the field that have good stats or that float when they get sent to the graveyard. So there are options, but I do agree I would have maybe gone for a Time Thief Redoer. Because you can see that your opponent is running a lot of spells, and adding spells to your Time Thief Redoer, it's just free card draw.
Ooh, and look, we're starting it off with the field spell. There was the Pearl Rhino draw for Jake, but now Pierre is also starting it off with his Libromancer field spell, the first appearance.
And this is also the first appearance of this card on stream, because we have only seen it milled before. Yes, I see that you're smiling, you like that one.
Yeah, I love it. Last round of the day and you're still coming up with those jokes. I don't know how your brain is handling that.
It was really far-fetched. It was a tough one to crack.
Yeah, crazy one. But there are a couple of really interesting options now, because there is that Baguska now in defense position. If we somehow manage to link summon into something, that would always enable us to somehow get into a Zeus line or something. So this could be pretty interesting. Oh, we're actually immediately activating the effect of our Keldor Engrave. We will be trying to pop the Libromancer first appearance here with our Pearl Rhino. I couldn't explain in any other way. So that must mean that the effect of first appearance to search...
it activates on activation of the card.
Yeah, true. So...
But there is a second effect to first appearance, which is that you just get a free ritual summon.
Yeah, so he just wants to deny that. We are still fetching out the Libromancer Fire from our deck. And to be honest, the card we're searching here, the Libromancer Fire, is not really that impactful when there's Baguska on the field. But I think I already saw a pretty good card here in the hand of Pierre. I do believe I saw Enemy Controller. One thing about Enemy Controller, though, there is the Sprite Elf protecting the Baguska at the moment from being targeted, which is a problem for sure.
That is true. Now we are going to get a little more information about the hand, and this is a card that we have talked about before, because none of us actually knew.
Yeah, it's a card from Dimension Force, Libromancer Misty Girl, and it's actually kind of an interesting choice to run this card, because on Ritual Summon you can just, what was it? You can target one card your opponent controls and negate it and set its attack to 0, actually. There comes Agent. Agent wants to special summon itself out, once again revealing the Misty Girl in hand.
So the good thing is that when Baguska stops you from activating your Fire's effect, you can still just summon out the Libromancer because you drew them all.
Yeah, indeed. So there is Fire Libromancer on the field. But I don't know, like if I would be Jake here, I wouldn't be too impressed with all of that. Like the only thing I would be afraid of right now is my opponent, Pierre, linking up into like Link 2s, Link 3s potentially. And even if that happens, we still have Tearlaments' Crime set, which could just shut that down. And Salik as well, yeah,
and
even that. Yeah, true. There's a lot. There's honestly a lot.
Also, if your opponent really commits into these Link plays, then you can always use Salik and then send your own Baguska. Just so your rule colors works again, just so that your elf can special summon out a Merly and that Merly can potentially mill good cards.
Absolutely. So one scenario I could see coming up here is one card that our previous Mikanko deck was not playing, but he is playing. He is playing the Mikanko Ritual spell, which is Mikanko Kagura. And Kagura is a spell that actually is able to destroy a lot of cards on the opponent's side of the field, such as the Baguska. But right now we are going into Codebreaker Virus Swordsman, which is just a generic rank 2, or link 2 rather, which is able to run over Baguska. That has been a choice of a lot of players, specifically Sprite players for the most part, to actually out Baguska. But Pierre is also running that option, and he pulls it off here to out that Baguska, and it's in the graveyard now.
But he has invested a lot to summon Codebreaker Virus Swordsman. He just summoned 2 monsters that are supposed to search other cards from your deck, but they couldn't, so Baguska really did its job.
Yeah, I think so. And we're in main phase 2 now, so Jake absolutely is sure he's going to have another turn. I think he's still fine with the situation, especially because he has Crime set still.
Crime and Salik really going to do a lot of work. Also, there is the Elf, so we are going to take the Elf in the battle phase so that Merly cannot be... Okay, we are in main phase 2.
That is very interesting, because why would you allow your opponent to just use Sprite Elf there?
There might be a plan for that, or this might have been forgotten.
So we are just reborning the Merly, taking the Sprite Elf.
And now let's see if this Merly is going to hit the
first card is already pretty
the
good.
Agido and the Kelbeck. I cannot believe this. He actually gets the Milton off of one single Merly because Pierre did not use the
but we are chaining the Elf because there is Diviner of the Herald in the graveyard. So I can see that being a problem. Maybe Jake wants to instantly react on that with his Tearlaments Salik, as he does just now.
I think he does, and there would also be the option to tribute something for Tearlament Roll Colors, so Salik wasn't even the only answer to that, and now we are going to mill so many different cards.
There it is coming. I mean, there are Mikanko equip spells going to the graveyard, which would be good for Kagura, as we were talking about that. But he needs Kagura for that, first of all, and also a ritual monster he can summon with it, most likely being Ohime.
Yeah, and he needs some more cards in hand and other resources, but it was nice to see the entire Mikanko deck on the table for once.
Yeah, true, true. So there is Dracostapelia now also hitting the field, being another interruption. So we still haven't used our Roll Colors. We now have the Dracostapelia as well. There still is a Tearlaments Crime set, and we are about to fusion summon another monster right there.
And the Garura is just immediately back in the extra deck. One of the reasons why Tearlaments is so good, because it is really hard to grind it out of resources.
And look, we are also about to get our own Sprite Elf back into the extra deck as well. Or maybe we're even holding the effect of Kaleido Heart here, because if we...
Nope.
We are just going to use it right away, getting our Sprite Elf into the extra deck, because some people don't know, Kaleido Heart is not only able to shuffle a card back into the deck on summon, but also when an Aqua monster is hitting the graveyard.
Scoop. Pierre decided that this game state, he can't longer sustain his playstyle with this, so he just gave up, and we are going to game 2. This was, again, such a dominant display of why Tearlament is widely considered the best deck in the format.
Yeah, so many layers of interruptions. Every single time when you do one of your effects on field, which is already an interruption, you are getting to another interruption with it, so it is just adding up, and here it was definitely too much for Pierre to overcome, even though he had that very powerful going second card being Enemy Controller.
And there are so many different interruptions. It is really... Sometimes decks can do a lot of one thing, you know, like set up 4 bounces or something like that. Here you have the Shuffle. You have Dragostapelia Negate to negate the effects of a face-up monster. You have Crime as a counter trap. You have Salik.
So much.
You have the Pelerino Pop. You have Roll Colors that works like a solemn warning.
Indeed it does. But I'm really interested to see whether in game 2 now, where Pierre Kazum gets the chance to go first, I'm excited to see what his end board is going to look like, because in the previous featured match where we featured the Libromancer Mikanko deck, there was one card in the main deck that we expected to be, honestly, in every single one of them, which is Christia, Archlord Christia, but Christia isn't even his list, so his end board...
One of the coolest boss monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh!
But that means his end board must look a lot different. There must be something else than the Christia, so I'm excited to see what it actually is. But of course, it's going to depend on whether his opponent Jake having interruptions. Of course, there could be another Hafnis coming down. There could be Kelbecks coming from the hand. So,
or what is he running in his side deck? Because
that's
there could
also
also
pretty
be
interesting.
Nibiru.
There is Nibiru, indeed.
Yeah.
There is a Nibiru, even 2 of them in the side deck. So that could also be an issue. We saw that in the last featured match where this deck was not having the best time against Nibiru. Let's see whether it's coming in here again.
This is a heavy board breaker side deck, let me tell you. This
It's
is
true.
13 cards for going second.
Yeah, but the thing is, something I also
14.
thought that might really be crucial in this matchup here is that Jake McGee actually, even though there are so many Kashtira decks running around, is still focusing on 9 Bystials in his main deck. That's a pretty high count. And in the matchup he's having right now, that's honestly not the best cards to have in your main deck, as we analyzed earlier on, because rather late in the combo they maybe want to Reborn Diviner with Elf, but besides that there's not that many Light and Darkness monsters, so the Bystials are not that great of an interruption. So I could see him siding them out here, but those answers will be given in a second as players are ready. So let's get into the action for game number 2 of our round 8 featured match.
Cards drawn, so we are ready to start game 2. Jake is not going to start this time. He has these beautiful Miracle Fusion sleeves on his side for his extra deck. I adore them. You might see some more of them this weekend. Little spoiler.
True, but let's see what Pierre is cooking up here. He is starting it off with first appearance.
It is the second appearance on stream.
That is absolutely true, but this is also the first time it will be sticking to the board, because last time there was an instant response by the Pearl Rhino effect, but now we are actually immediately using Kashtira Tearlaments here.
That is really aggressive.
Absolutely, but I mean, we're getting rid of the Tearlaments merely from our hand, but also we are going to be able to mill 2 cards, or rather 3 cards.
I'm calling now that he's going to mill Tearlament Crime.
Okay.
And he
accepted.
is going to.
Oh, there's Hafnis.
Wow.
There's okay. We're keeping in the Magna moods apparently.
High risk, high reward. We have hit the name Tearlament Hafnis, and now we are going to be able to summon a Kid Colors.
Yep, that is definitely what's going to happen. And yes, we are using the Tearlaments Kashtira from the field, and there is Kid Colors. But I think the only real thing we can do here is either search out Hafnis, which would then give you another shot of milling good cards, or just instantly going to instantly sending a fusion name to the graveyard to go into roll colors.
Yeah.
So you have like another interruption.
This is one more thing that I really like about playing Tearlaments. Your opponent thinks it's his turn, but no. You are going to start off with your monsters.
Indeed. So there's roll colors sitting pretty there now. So even though Pierre just started off with 1 card, he's now facing an interruption already. Very obvious being on the field there, Tearlaments roll colors. So Pierre maybe now has to reconstruct the combo route he was about to play, because there is now an interruption, but he starts it off with Libromancer Fire, and once again he drew into the Misty Girl, which once again will be read by Jake.
And it is a one-off in his deck, by the way. So this is kind of unlikely.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's too happy about that, because this card doesn't really advance you in your combo.
Yeah, I do agree. So we are activating Fire, revealing the Misty Girl to special summon itself, of course. And Jake probably just considers to negate this with Roll Colors here, I would assume.
I mean, that would be an easy interruption.
Yeah,
But I mean, if you don't...
It just snowballs, right? We saw that earlier. Just that 1 fire is going to get you into so many things, and therefore it's quite a bit of a risk to just let that go through here. But maybe Jake knows the deck, knows where like a choke point of the combo is that he really wants to interrupt, and therefore he just lets it go through here.
So maybe he thinks that he wants to negate the effect of Geek Boy, because you can actually also emergency teleport out the Geek Boy, and then activate the effect. So the deck really heavily wants to get this Geek Boy out to get this Spell and Trap Surge.
Yeah, but he's not even going for Geek Boy. He first of all searches out for Libromancer Agent.
I mean, he has the best spell already. He used the first appearance.
Yep, that is true. So, Agent now being added to the hand. Quick explanation from Pierre, but seems like everything is fine there.
So Agent on summon adds back a Libromancer card from the graveyard, which is currently impossible.
Because there are none, you're absolutely right.
Exactly, Sebastian.
So Pierre just added a card. But we want to
really
ritual
nice.
summon here. And I mean, we read over Misty Girl, and Misty Girl on summon can just negate a monster on the field. And there's a perfect card to negate right now, as there is a Tearlaments Rule Color sitting on the field.
You basically have to negate this with Rule Colors, and a Shiren is discarded for it.
Oh, that means we could just go for another fusion summon, and that's absolutely what we're doing. We're using the Magna Mood with our Shiren to go into Mud Dragon here.
And now the Rule Colors is untargetable for the moment because the Mud Dragon of the Swamp is a water type.
That is
water
true.
attribute.
So, what is happening now for Pierre? I think we are somewhat okay with baiting out the Rule Colors interaction there, honestly. Because now that means we can just freely resolve Agent, and from there on we might be able to combo off a little bit more.
I mean, it wasn't even baited, it was forced out.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you can go for the Agent and get back the...
Oh, but we have Ohime in hand as well.
Changes everything.
Ohime.
Oh no, it doesn't change everything because the Mud Dragon is really important here. The good Mikanko equip cards need to target opposing monsters.
Yeah, that is actually true. That could be an issue there. Let's see how he's going about it, though. He is using Ohime here, first of all, in his hand. And, of course, he is going to add one Mikanko card from his deck to his hand. And then he will be discarding one card afterwards. So he's adding the
Ceremony.
Great Mikanko Ceremony. And he might as well just discard it as well, because it has a graveyard effect. But no, we are getting rid of that Misty Girl. It has done enough now in those two games. It can go to the graveyard here.
The Ceremony is actually really important, so you can summon out the Ohime and then you can banish it to use the graveyard effect to send one equip spell from your deck to the graveyard. And this is so important because Ohime can just attach it to a valid target on the field in the next turn, or in this turn even.
And yeah, we are activating the Ceremony, specialing out the Ohime. Using, yeah, looks like he wants to use the effect of Ohime as well.
I think he first has to activate the effect of Ceremony in the graveyard.
Yeah, he's already trying to grab it. So
let me get up the Great Mikanko Ceremony for you guys.
Yeah, you can just banish it to send one Mikanko card from your deck to the graveyard. Yeah.
And you can't activate Ohime unless you have the Ceremony banished because there is no equip spell.
You are probably absolutely right about that.
The next good thing about Ceremony is, as Ohime can't be destroyed by battle, it returns to your hand in the end phase of the opposing turn, which means that you can reveal it again to search out a Mikanko card and then special summon it again.
Yeah, the fun begins once more. That's definitely pretty cool. So I can see that being his game plan, honestly. Just setting up Ohime and a couple of other things so your opponent does not really have a way to play through your board, and then you just ritual summon Ohime with the Mikanko ritual spell being Mikanko Kagura to just break his board and then go for some kind of an OTK.
So the Reflection Rondo is sent to the GY, but I think that this Mud Dragon of the Swamp is really doing a lot of work here.
Yep, I do agree. So we are now using Ohime to get Reflection Rondo.
Do equip spells target?
Let me just read up on Reflection Rondo again. So you can only equip it to an opponent's monster. I think just equipping an equip spell is not really targeting.
Then this is still really strong.
And yeah, you just take control of it. Actually, I do think that absolutely works. So that Mud Dragon is not really hindering here, and he now has a Tearlaments Rule Colors on his field.
Then this is a lot better than I thought.
Yeah, it definitely is.
But it makes me question why he did not go for Water Arabesque. Because in that scenario, he could have equipped it to a monster and then send it back to the extra deck, special summon out a Hare, and then get another one that in this situation could be the Reflection Rondo to take over a monster. So he would out both cards and have the option to have more in the graveyard.
Yeah, you're right. That's a pretty interesting decision. So he points towards the Rule Colors. So Reflection Rondo is equipping the Rule Colors here. And what is he doing from here on? Because he has not even gone into his extra deck in this turn yet. And we know that this deck is capable of link summoning a whole bunch Also, he's playing like, we were surprised about seeing Dynamondo in his extra deck, which is a new addition to the extra deck, because you need 2 monsters, including original monsters for it. And if you read up on Dynamondo, that effect is actually quite crazy. Yeah, it's really, really good. I knew that there was amazing ritual support in Amazing Defenders, but Photon Hypernova even gives you additional support here in the form of a Link monster.
So now we are going to see the first Link monster. Really good linking of the roll color, so it cannot return to the field because it wasn't sent via an effect. Ooh. And we are seeing the Codebreaker again. And wow, now Illusion of Chaos as well. This is starting to get really
seems
good.
About right. And now finally that fire was in the graveyard so that the Libromancer agent could actually add something back. We're linking up even more. Do we go for Isolde here? Yes, we do. Indeed, we do go for Isolde. And now it makes sense that he went for the Codebreaker, because that's actually a warrior. So he needed another warrior for the Isolde, and that's working out perfectly, because I think we're just about to combo off now as well.
The only thing that I ask myself is, could you not just take the field spell, the first appearance, and then send it with Magician's Souls later to get an extra door? Or do you just want to keep the... I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Keep the first appearance in hand for follow-up. Because I think it's better follow-up than fire.
Both options are viable, but for now he's just summoning out the Renault, and something really interesting I noticed is he's running double Infernoble Knight Renault, and we saw the last Mikanko Infernoble, no, it's not even Infernoble, but there is an Infernoble Knight Renault in there. The last Mikanko Libromancer player playing only one of this, but playing 2 of this actually means if you hard draw one of them, you still have 1 more in the deck to special summon out with your Isolde. So he just did that right there. And there maybe now is the reason why he wasn't able to special summon out the Hare, because he may have had that Hare in his hand all the time.
That explains everything, and now we are going to see the next Mikanko spell, which is Mikanko Fire Dance, which reborns a monster from your graveyard and attaches to it. You have the option to special summon one for your opponent as well, but you don't have to.
Probably you rather would not want to do it, and so there he is, special summoning out the Renault as he's controlling a fire warrior.
I mean, there are some applications for summoning an opposing monster, because you can summon out like an effect Veiler in attack position if your opponent only has big monsters and then attack over it to go for the necessary damage.
Yeah, that sometimes can come up. Also, there are like very niche and neat interactions that some of the, for example, Nini. He's also playing Nini, the Mirror Mikanko, and that from time to time can actually do damage in other ways, because it actually says it cannot be destroyed by battle, and your opponent takes any battle damage that you would have taken. So you can just actually reborn a very strong monster from your opponent
as well,
and then just attack into it, and so it could be a lot of damage for your opponent that way.
There's going to always be a way to deal damage.
Yeah. Do you know what that card reminds me of?
You bet.
No, I was just thinking about the Recital Starling, because Recital Starling also makes your opponent have battle damage that you would get as well. So they are similar in that aspect, and they also both have 0 attacks, so they are kind of comparable in that. But of course, the one monster is an extra deck Exceed monster, and this one is just a normal main deck monster, or an effect main deck monster.
All of those monsters have 0 attacks. Yubel as well.
Yeah, true. All of them have. So, but now, for now, there is not Nini on the field, but only Hari, the other main deck Mikanko monster. Fire Dance now being on the field, and we went into Herald of Arclight once again, and I think it's a pretty interesting situation here to have that card on the field, as there already is Mud Dragon being face up on the field, and Mud Dragon already means he can just go battle phase, run over the Herald. But let's not forget, that's actually quite okay for us, because we're going to get Ohima back to our hand and end phase, and therefore our opponent running over Herald of Arclight in battle phase means we're going to have another turn.
Also, Ohime will stop you.
Yeah. Oh, that as well, you're right.
Ohime can just take away the Mud Dragon.
That's true, that's true. So, let's see. What are we having here? Looks like that is about what Pierre could do here. It's not looking as impressive as some of the Christia and boards that deck is also capable to produce, but he's not running Christia, so he has to take a different approach.
So we're setting one more card. Another option would have been the Libromancer Doombroker plus a trap card, the Intervention.
Yeah, it is Intervention indeed.
but we did not have access to that just here because of the rule clause.
True. So, is that all that Pierre... Oh no, Pierre is not done.
Okay,
Pierre is not done.
Oh,
We're
yeah. Makes sense.
summoning Magician Souls.
And we are going to send the beautiful Starlight Rare Illusion of Chaos.
But it almost
we
looked
have
like a
to-
normal summon, right?
Oh yeah, that could also be true.
That definitely looked like a normal summon.
Now we are going for another Link summon. What is he running in his extra deck?
Well, let me see. So there's potentially Appaloosa coming,
Yeah.
but right now there's no Link for opportunity. But there now is IP Masquerena, which in his opponent's turn now gives you the option to go into Appaloosa with the Soldier that's already on the field.
And oh, you can take away a monster of your opponent and use that as Link material as well. That is really cool.
That is actually true, yeah.
To go for Rondo and just take one monster and immediately link it away.
Yeah, there's so many neat interactions the deck has, and the best part about it is that your opponents most likely don't know about any of those interactions because the Mikanko engine is so new and people have not discovered it enough.
Yeah.
And the chances that Jake actually exactly knows what all those Mikanko interactions are is pretty low. And therefore, I think Pierre might have won a couple of games today already by his opponents just not really being aware of what those cards do. And we're now instantly taking control of the Rhino Heart there.
And this one did not activate the effect, obviously, because Herald of the Arclight would have just banished the card immediately. And now we have Avramax that cannot be destroyed by card effects. This one, remember, is a powerful card that very few Tearlaments player managed to out. And this is an immediate scoop. Mikanko wins for the first time on stream today.
I love that. It was a pretty cool and interactive end board that Pierre created there, even though Jake very quickly got to summon out Tearlaments' rule colors. But he wasn't impressed. He just took control of it because we learned that equipped spell cards don't even target, and therefore he could just take it even though there was a Mud Dragon on the field.
You learn something new every day.
Indeed, we did. You guys at home probably already knew that, but still, for us, it was a new thing. So no, we just refreshed our knowledge on that, of course.
Exactly.
But let's see what the going first options for Jake McGee are now. And you were really impressed with his side deck, featuring so many board breaker going second cards, and with so many of them, there's honestly not that many room, or not that much room to play any going first cards. And if you look at it, is there even a single one?
I mean, honestly, it's half a library. Which can't be too good against Libromancers. Oh god, this is nice. Too many books versus the Libromancers.
Yeah. But yeah, like the going first options are really limited. I mean, you could potentially side in Book of Lunar Eclipse because just booking 2 monsters on your opponent's turn does not feel too bad when you already established the board. So that is something you could have. Because maybe you really want to get rid of all those Bestials in your main deck. We saw that he kept the Magna Moods, but overall, I don't think those Bestials are too amazing versus the Libromancer deck.
That is true, but maybe they are going first at least better than the book cards.
Yeah,
I mean, they can
definitely
be
something
an
he has
absolute
to
blowout for your opponent if you set a Book of Eclipse.
Yeah.
I mean, you will give them so many draws in the end phase, but if you manage to flip 3 monsters face down, it's going to be really hard to play around that, even though you can still tribute them as a material for a ritual summon.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% like Book of Lunar Eclipse in that situation more than Book of Eclipse because
less draws.
Lunar Eclipse doesn't give your opponent draws then at the end of the turn. Yeah, I don't think you gotta go with Book of Eclipse. I like Bestials more than Book of Eclipse, for sure, I do agree. But Lunar Eclipse, I can see that. Maybe that is coming in.
Nibiru is also a really good card going in for a start.
Yes, I do like that as well. But the one thing that Jake has to think about here is your real desired end board going to be Baguska Pass once again? I mean, he had more stuff than that, but do you really just want to summon out a monster that makes half of your end board unable to do stuff? I don't really see the point of it.
I don't think that's going to be his plan, but we will soon find it out as we are going to shift over to the game. Guys, be ready for Game 3 of the final featured match of Day 1 of YCS Lyon.
Here we are. Also, this time he will not have to trigger Tearlaments Kashtira that quickly because it is his own turn, so he can just take a Or he can just take a slower approach to all of that. He doesn't need to rush with activating the effect of Tearlaments Kashtira. So
that is true. That was a really bold play, but he got rewarded for it.
Yeah, and
well, I mean, he lost the game after that, but
yeah, but it looked good. He at least hit a card to
good,
Fusion Summon, so that was kind of nice. So looking at the side deck of Pierre Kazoum, there are a lot more going second cards coming in for game 3 now as well. He has the potential to side in Artifact Lancea. Book of Eclipse is also a card he's side decking. Chakra no more, I don't really love versus the Tearlaments deck, but maybe the one copy he's siding is also coming in. But there's also Kurikara Divincanate, which is getting more and more popular lately, and he's running 2 copies of that too.
Neat cards that we haven't seen in the featured matches so far, but they definitely have applications in the current format. So
yeah.
Jake is probably going to start this one off. I'm going to be... It's exciting to see what Pierre can do with his deck going second, because we know that it can put out big combo boards, but
we're starting things off here with Kaldo discarding the Kelback.
That is ideal.
That searches us a Mudora, and that will also enable our Kelback in the graveyard to make both players mill 5 cards here. So that's absolutely what we're going to do. Let's see what the mills are.
So we have Tearlaments Kashtira, which will mill 2 more cards, and Scream, which will search for a trap card, which is good.
Yeah.
Because you want those. But there is not really a play so far. Let's see what else Jake can put out.
We're again going for the Tearlaments Crime, as we did in game number 1. What else are we milling though? Salik will definitely give us another monster.
Yeah, and now we can search for Shiren to discard the Mudora, and then you already have one of your Tearlament cards in play.
Yeah, and you theoretically also already have Baguska on board, because you are then left with 2 level 4 monsters.
Never change a running system.
Depending on the mills we're getting there, we might as well be able to do more, and there is even Agido in the hand. We're resolving Mudora, discarding Agido, milling 5
even
more
the
cards.
heartbeat to add back the Salik that was milled earlier.
That is pretty strong, not gonna lie.
So we are ending on double trap again, and there are so many resources in the graveyard before the first fusion has hit the field already. This is a dream start for Jake.
Yep, and also we hit a name to fusion summon. Shiren is being used. Shiren and Tearlaments Kashtira together will be fusioned for a Tearlaments Kid Colors once more. So many Tearlaments monster with a K in it. Actually, it's only Tearlaments Kashtira and Kid Colors, now that I think about it. No, there's Kaleido Heart as well.
That is true. By the way, do you know what I would have liked?
Go ahead, what is it?
You have seen Lava Golem.
Yep.
In game 1. Gather resources and somehow just end on one monster. Just end on a Baguska and pass.
So
if that is possible.
You did like the Baguska pass now.
Just Baguska pass, so you can't get Lava Golemed over it, so there is maybe a card that your opponent can't use, and then in the turn after that, you OTK, so you don't invest all your resources into your board that can get broken with the Lava Golem or other cards like Evenly Matched, which are popular against the deck.
Yeah, but...
I mean, you have the traps.
Do you know what I dislike about that? Enemy Controller is a pretty good card versus just Baguska.
Oh, fair enough. And you have the traps that are not able to activate if you don't have a tier card. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
So we are going for the Mill 5 with the Kid Colors, and also the special summoned Rhino Heart will send another monster to the graveyard, probably just triggering another name to fusion summon here.
Yeah, Merly and Havness are still open. Shiren was the only one that was used so far, so we are going to see the last 2 fusion summons of the turn happening quite soon.
Yep, we are using Havness and Merly here. So one of the fusions is just certainly going to be Rule Colors. There goes Havness, and yep, there's the Kid Colors, so that could also be Dracostopelia, but I'm quite certain we are just going for Rule Colors, as that also gives us more ways to fusion summon on our opponent's turn later on.
And it is kind of a better interruption than Dracostopelia in most of these situations, especially when you're playing against those ritual decks. You can stop the ritual summon from happening in the first place.
For sure, for sure. So, the second fusion summon, and also, as you said, the last fusion summon of the turn is happening here. Probably going to be Garura? Yeah, just going to be Garura again. So I think the end board we're creating here is going to be super similar to the one we did in game 1. Just going to be Elf again. But the thing is, this time we don't have Merle in the graveyard, so Elf is not even that great.
And how do you make Elf here?
Oh, that's... Yeah, okay, we would have to take the extra step of summoning Dark. I mean, look, we are just going for Baguska again, and are we just passing on that Garura on the field? Oh, okay, we just have normal summon Merle. That actually is
I wanted to see Merle in defense position, by the way.
Yeah, it should have gone to the defense position, but we just skipped that part really quickly. We are drawing a card with Garura, so apart from that one Rhino Heart that's also chilling there on the field, the end board is exactly the same. We're special summoning back the Merle.
I mean, it is another card that you can just send away for a
wow,
side.
We're setting four cards, but that leaves us with no cards in hand. So the Tearlaments Crime we set there is not going to be able to be activated because you need to discard a monster for it.
Then maybe I would have not summoned them early.
Yeah, true.
Because this could very well be a Lightning Storm coming down here.
I mean, there is... Oh yeah, there is Lightning Storms in the side deck. So...
Or Harpy's Feather Duster. I don't know if he has sided those, because he knows his opponent is playing Crime. So maybe it's not worth putting it in the main deck for Game 3. But, I mean, Crime can't be activated at this point, and it doesn't even have a target if it gets destroyed. There's only Mudora banished.
Yeah, honestly, I'm quite surprised by Jake just setting all of the 4 cards there, because you are giving your opponent the information now. Pierre knows, okay, yeah, he has Crime, but he can't use it. So that is definitely an advantage he has here. If he just kept, for example, just keep the Crime in hand then, and your opponent always will play around Crime now, but you don't even have it as your back row card.
I mean, he played around Lava Golem, so the trap cards can still be used if you tribute to Tearlament monsters.
Okay, we're starting off with Libromancer Fire, revealing Cyber Angel Benton.
Benton, usually a card that searches Christian.
Yeah, true, but here in that case definitely won't. And looks like we're resolving that. Yep, Libromancer Fire is being summoned to the field.
Not going to activate the effect on summon, though.
Oh, and we're instantly linking it away. So we have a one monster here that can be summoned, and it's Lingerivo, because he doesn't really look like it, but Libromancer Fire is a Cybers monster. You couldn't tell on the first view, but yes, he is.
Honestly, Basti, I knew. I always knew.
All right.
Oh, and now we are going to see Preparation of Rites. Everyone who played in Necros format just has nice flashbacks. This card is insanely strong.
Yeah, it definitely is. And also, it profits off of the mill effects of the Ishizus, because there might as well already be a ritual spell in the graveyard that you could potentially add back. No, there isn't, though. In that particular instant, there isn't. And also, if there would have been, maybe Jake would have just chained the Shuffler there.
That is a really good point, which is also pretty strong against the Great Ceremony of Mikanko.
That's
because
true.
Then you can't send your card, or if you send your card, oh, we are immediately searching, and this is also really strong.
There is Reflection Rondo being... Oh no, it's Water Arabesque. Yeah, they're very same looking, but this is definitely Water Arabesque.
Usually, you could negate this card with Roll Colors. In this scenario, you can't because you have the Baguska.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, your end board is kind of working against each other.
Yeah.
Like, your Roll Colors is strong, but there's Baguska just shutting it down.
There is a card in hand, by the way.
Oh, wait, is it? Oh, you're right. How did he have another card in hand?
We have a little bit of a bigger screen than you guys, so we can actually see that there is one more card in hand.
Ooh.
So, Crime might be...
Probably
really
is live,
right
to
now.
be honest. Probably Crime is still live. So, he's double reading the Water Arabesque. He better does, because that card is super powerful, and I think it's worth interrupting, and I do believe that's just what we're going to do. Probably... Oh, we have the Tearlaments Heartbeat.
Is really good for that. But you also have to discard a card, so now we have reached the limit of what Crime can do.
I mean, on the other hand, if it is a fusion effect, we can just summon out Kid Colors. Kid
and
Colors
then not
searches
search
up
because Baguska is on the field.
You're right. True.
Yes.
That is a problem.
It is.
That is a problem indeed. So maybe that's what he's thinking. Also, that means that Jake drew into the Heartbeat with the effect of Garura, because Heartbeat earlier on was milled and then being shuffled back into the deck. And therefore, that was absolutely his Garura draw in this instance.
So we have the Dragostopelia on the field now, not doing too much in defense position while Bagushka is on the field. And now we are seeing triple tactic talents. And this card could actually be a bit of a blowout here. You can just take Bagushka and then change it to attack position, go for a nice Zeus play. Crime is activated. There is another card in hand.
There's another card in hand. How many cards did he start the duel with? It looked like he had an opening hand of 8 cards. That is pretty insane. He had another discard, so there was 2 monsters left in his opening hand.
Oh. And it is another triple tactic talents. This card, when negated, can just be used again because it says this card can only be activated once per turn and not used.
Yes, so he's already tackling his Bagushka for last time, saying goodbye as it's going over to Pierre. And Pierre most likely is just going to put that card into attack position to, as you said, go into a Zeus play, potentially.
You can run over the elf. When Salik is activated, we have Linguribo on the field to negate and banish it, so you don't even get the surge off of it. You deal a lot of damage, a little bit of damage on the elf, and then you can go for a Zeus play, which would immediately be answered by Dragostopelia, because Bagushka is not really on the field anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Then,
but I mean, can't you can actually run over the Dragostopelia here, right? Because Dragostopelia, I think, is only on 1900 defense. So Bagushka could out the Dragostopelia, but we are trying to run over Sprite Elf.
Maybe there is another answer for the Dragostopelia in the back for his hand. Maybe he has another Mikanko equip spell. We are just going to take 800 damage.
I'm telling you something. I can already picture how this is going down. I think enemy controller is a thing. He's just going to use the effect of Zeus. His opponent is trying to respond, and then you tribute away the monster that you were just using the effect of being the Zeus. I can definitely see that happening here.
That is true. However, you end on nothing then, and Rule Colors is just going to summon itself back, and Merly is also going to trigger then.
You're right, that is certainly a problem.
It is all a bit suboptimal.
So, yep, he's immediately pointing towards the Dragostopelia, and of course Jake does not want to waste any time on that because there's only 4 more minutes left on the round, and Pierre just did 700 damage. Yeah, but there is no enemy controller. No enemy controller. That's rough here for Pierre.
And time is a dangerous factor for Pierre now because this Linguribo does not have a lot of attack.
That is indeed true. But there is Kurikara Divincanate. We were talking about it earlier, and he actually brought it into the main deck here after side decking. And this card is absolutely insane. They were just counting the monster effect that have been used, and we're tributing the Dragostopelia away for Kurikara Divincanate there.
But there is still the same issue.
What's the issue?
The issue is that Dragostopelia is now gone, but Rule Colors is there, and Linguribo is in attack position.
Yeah, true. So, I mean, in the long run, that's a pretty good thing to have here, but he also gets to reborn something with Kurikara Divincanate in the end phase, so maybe that would be something that could help him. Like, he could reborn the Dragostopelia, but let's be honest, that doesn't prevent the battle damage, so that will be interesting to see.
That is true. He can also go for a Link 2 play, go for an IP Masquerena, maybe have another card. No, he does not. He is going to have to face the Rule Colors and especially a Sprint.
Yep, that's true. I mean, he probably just didn't want to use the end phase effect of Kurikara because that would have been answered with the effect of Rule Colors, because as far as I'm aware, he did not even use Rule Colors all along the turn.
Oh, and then you could just tribute off the Merly and go for a Kid Colors in the end phase. This would be so much more resources.
So, okay, yeah, we're thinking in draw phase apparently. So, checking out the graveyard there. But we gotta be aware, if you're running over Linguribo or Kurikara here, that means that the Zeus could actually trigger and the Zeus could actually get another material. So that's something we have to be aware of.
That is correct, Basti. I don't think that you are fearing that though, because you have the Salik set. There is Linguribo, but if you run over the Linguribo, it's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
So every win condition that Pierre is finding for himself, there is just one more problem that Jake makes him face.
So we are now immediately switching all of our monsters into attack position. Jake just wants to get battle damage in here. He just checks on how much attack points Kurikara currently is on.
It is 1,500.
No, I think it's 3k actually, because it's by nature 1,500
Oh,
and
right,
gains attack
right.
for each once attributed. So it should be on 3k right now.
So we were just running over the Linguribo. Let's see if the Zeus actually attaches material, because it still has a counter, but okay, it doesn't have a counter anymore now. But I mean, maybe he even forgot about the Zeus effect.
Oh, I mean, it still has the counter, but it's a permanent effect. Oh, but I think that Solik is a little bit too late, right?
He just did not attach. Because when you run over it, it's damage step. You
Yeah,
can't activate
that's what I was
He
thinking.
just did not activate Zeus.
Probably not, yeah. Probably
And
not.
now we are, I think, probably still in battle phase. Tribute the Merly away. We can just go for another big fusion. There is a Rhino-Heart on the field, which means that Kaleido-Heart is an option here.
It absolutely is. And Pierre, when you're looking at his face, he's not really liking the situation he's in right now, because Jake looks like he's in the driver's seat here a lot more. Also looking focused, looking very, very confident about this game here.
Yeah, we can just go for Kaleido-Heart. Now the Zeus is negated for all of the times. Okay, now it's shuffled back to the extra deck. I was gonna say you can just easily send away the Kurikara with the Kaleido-Heart, because this Zeus is not going places anymore.
Yeah, that is true indeed. So that means we have Kaleido-Heart and Rule Colors on the field together now, which is honestly quite strong, because Rule Colors can also trigger the Kaleido-Heart, so it's just a really neat combination. Of course, the combination of Kaleido-Heart and Solik is also amazing, because
yes,
sending the Kaleido-Heart to the graveyard by the effect of Solik will then give you the option to trigger the graveyard effect of Kaleido-Heart, of course.
Yeah, that
so
one is
it's a lot.
crazy.
It's a lot.
Can just summon itself back and then send a Tearlament card from your deck to the graveyard, which will immediately trigger. And also the Kaleido-Heart effect can chain block it, so you can't even be ashed or ghost belt on those effects. I mean, you can ghost belt the Kaleido-Heart effect.
Yeah,
enough,
but there is the Ohime coming down. Ohime will be searching out another Mikanko card, then sending one card to the graveyard. What is it going to be? Are we just going for Great Ceremony?
I think Ceremony is out, so we are going for the Arabesque, and then the Kaleido-Heart is going to be sent to the extra deck again. Rule Colors can always negate that, keep that in mind. Ohime is discarded. So, Water Arabesque.
Yep, there is Water Arabesque, and he's targeting the Rule Colors. All right. So, any response from Jake there? Oh, he has Twin Twister as well. Twin Twister discarding the Chiron, taking away that Water Arabesque. And I think Pierre is down to a singular card in his hand. Can he do something with it?
The chances of him coming back are really low, but there is always an option. The game is not over unless the last card of the game is played. Solik is activated, targeting Kurikana Divincarnate. Now Kaleido-Heart is sent to the graveyard.
And you know what?
Called by the grave onto the
Called by
Kaleido-Heart.
the grave. That's strong. I think we're in the end phase currently of Pierre's turn, because Jake was like, okay, yeah, in the end phase, I might as well just use Solik to get some value off of my Kaleido-Heart, but he's not getting any value now, as that Called by the Grave is coming down, and Kurikara and Rukalas both are on 3k attack. That's kind of funny.
That's true. Now we are going to prevent this Kaleido-Heart from being banished by activating Kaldo, the Sacred Protector, shuffling it back to the extra deck, not really shuffling it to the extra deck, but sending it back to the extra deck and shuffling Heartbeat and Kashtira Tearlaments to the deck.
Yeah, I would have been a bit surprised if he goes for the Heartbeat, because let's be honest, Heartbeat is not really a top deck you want to have there, because drawing Heartbeat in that situation is not going to give you anything.
That is true.
So he's switching the Kurikara to defense position, and I gotta say, Kurikara does only gain attack points, and therefore the Rukalas is now able to run over it.
So,
oh wait, it's negated, and therefore it probably is not boosted anymore. So most likely,
I think that is an effect that was used when it was summoned, so it keeps the attack.
It doesn't matter anyways, as timeout has just been announced, and that means that Jake McGee is the winner of our round 8 and our final feature match of the day, defeating the Mikanko Libromancer deck of Pierre Kazoum. And once again, that deck couldn't really shine in this one, right? We would have wished that Libromancer Mikanko would have finally get the spotlight we wanted it to
Maybe it was just missing the Christia.
Maybe
but I mean,
that was
it won the game that it could start.
Yeah, that is actually true. So we talked a lot today. I don't think we have to talk a lot more. So goodbye from the commentator side. See you tomorrow with more featured matches. And now Ed will also give you a short goodbye to end this beautiful day of YCS coverage.
Thank you very much, guys. What a long, slogged round. It's quite nice to have you guys just to my right over here. I can give you guys a wave, and it makes everything quite nice. But that is going to be the end of our coverage of today. 8 rounds. We normally do 9, but we're going to be moving 9 to tomorrow, as it's now gotten quite late. So after round 9, the first round that we're going to have tomorrow, we then get to cut to the top 256. We'll then have rounds 10, 11, and 12 of Swiss with those top cut players. Then we get into our top 64 cut. And then, as some of you already know, but to explain to those of you at home who don't know, 64, 32, 16, top 8, then top 4, and then the final. So that's basically how it's going to work tomorrow. So that's going to be 10 whole rounds of content that you guys are going to be seeing tomorrow. It's going to be a long day, but it's going to be worth every single one of it. Thank you very much to all of you guys who have tuned in here on the YouTube and the Twitch to watch all of our coverage here at YCS Lyon today. There's plenty more tomorrow. We're going to be starting that at 9 AM local time here, which is in about 10 hours, just under 10 hours, so pretty good. We'll see you guys in 10 hours. I've been Ed Temple, your host. Looking forward to coming back tomorrow with all of our wonderful commentary team, Marcello, Alberto, Sebastian, and Leonard. It's been great fun from all of us. We're looking forward to it. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.